We need to do a wellness check on Reese.
Big smile at something.
Really? Is he okay?
He's always smiling.
Yeah.
He's here. He's here.
I think he's scared.
He had 21 crab legs with Zoe on Saturday.
Well, then he won't be here for a little while. Okay, how you doing?
Mike, how are you?
I'm great.
Milton Williams being eligible to come off IR, have any decisions been made in that regard?
Well, I think he'll practice. I think we'll start his window, see how he responds through the week of practice, and go from there. I know he worked extremely hard, off with the strength and conditioning staff, with the training staff, and involved in meetings. So that's really hard to do, is to be engaged in meetings when you know you're not going to play and have some time. And so appreciate what he's done here and his leadership and his willingness to try to get back.
Speaking of wellness, just how is the team holding up after 7 players injured?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. I think that we'll figure out where things are later in the week. I think everybody's been getting treatment. We got back late. So today will be a good opportunity just to, see a little bit of, activity, walk through, albeit, but get guys up, moving around, a couple guys in the protocol. And again, I would say that those are the guys that you're most conscious of from just a, mental well-being and not getting frustrated by how they feel. Tell everybody to do the same thing. Just be honest with how you're feeling. Talk to the doctors, talk to the trainer. We do an evaluation every day. We do a symptom score. So I think those are the ones that you want to just try to focus on. The guys that have an ankle or whatever it might be, that knee, that, they're going to be okay. Sometimes any of these things that relates to concussions can, react differently, and there's no predescribed amount of time that they're going to be out.
Is that Travion and Keyshawn?
Well, Travion's in it, and Booty's in it, and Jared Wilson is in protocol.
How about this time of year, Mike, with success you guys have had as a team, how badly do you guys want to get in the lineup, continue doing what they're doing? Morgan on the sideline the other day, doing everything he could possibly get back in there.
I mean, it's all of these guys have ever known. Since the time that they started playing football, they wanted to be out there, and they go to college and they want to be out there, and then they go to the NFL and they want to be out there. You only get one opportunity a week. It means a lot to them. Love for guys to find ways in as opposed to looking for ways out. But then sometimes that's not always the case. They can't go in there. So we appreciate everyone that makes an effort to finish the game or get to the game, and whatever that may be, in whatever capacity that they can help us. So I think that's just it's all they know.
Mike, you have played a significant volume of snaps with your base personnel like the last 2 weeks. How does that challenge your defense? Like, how do you see guys are effective?
Played base defense. Yeah, I just think that's predicated on some of the things that they're doing offensively and the personnel groupings that they are in, and we'll have to, continue to do that versus the Jets and stop the run and try to find ways to get off the field on third down.
Like, they just announced the Pro Bowl rosters. You guys are 12-3 and only have 2 Pro Bowlers. Just curious your reaction. Does that irk you at all, or anything like that?
Nope, it does not at all.
What does that say about maybe the season you guys are having?
It says that we're 12-3 and that we have 2 guys that the coaches and the fans and the players thought worthy enough to make the first ballot. You've got some alternates. I wouldn't imagine that would be, I'm sure guys are disappointed. There's however many 5-punt returners that had 2 touchdowns. I mean, I don't know how many years that's happened, but am I right there? But, I think Marcus has had a hell of a year, and I think he's a Pro Bowler. I'm glad he's our returner and glad he's helped us out. But sometimes that just doesn't happen. And we're focused on wins. We said that last week. The players, they make fun of me, but, we're chasing wins and not plays. And if we make enough plays that are winning, that'll be enough. That'll be all we need. And so don't really have much else to add on the Pro Bowl.
All right, now that you guys have clinched a playoff berth, what's your message for this week and your message
Yeah,
for the
there's-
next 2 games?
Well, just unfinished business. I can't focus on the next two weeks. We got to focus on this week and going on the road to a great environment. I'm going to New York City, playing the Jets, and unfinished business. We want to be undefeated on the road. I think that's something that's unique. I'm sure you guys will tell me how many times it's happened before, but there you go. So that's something that I think is special. Still want to play for the division. We want to win the division. Haven't done it in a long time, and whoever we put out there and whoever we play with is going to have that in mind and then be prepared to do that. Against a team that's playing some young guys. They've got some good veterans. They're playing well on third down defensively. I think they have a really, really good offensive line. I think they move people. I like the way they play. I like their play demeanor. Two really good, young, talented tackles. Guards try to finish you. So again, they got speed. Brees Hall, it can make you miss. Mitchell's getting more comfortable in the offense and all that. So, there's some unfinished business. We're not, the season isn't over. This wasn't our goal, and I'm excited that we won, but we've moved on.
What's allowed? What have you observed that's allowed Matt Holmes to flourish as a receiver, as a pass catcher? We know about dirty work as a blocker, as a pass catcher himself.
And he works hard. I think he's got a good catch radius. I think he's improved. I think that, to his credit, I think Todd's done a nice job with his skill set and, trying to play big and play through contact. And I think he's fearless. I think some of his best catches are, some of those in cuts where, he's extending his body and he's trusting, that Drake's looked out in front of him and puts it up there where nobody else can get it. And, that can't be an easy, task to go in there and, go up 9 or 10 feet and catch an in cut and hope that you're not going to get nailed on the other side of it.
Mike, from completely disinterested up to highly interested, what's your level when it comes to watching the results around the league and now that you're in the playoffs trying to figure out where you're seeding and whatever else would be?
I would say somewhat slightly disinterested.
I would have thought of Ben Brown.
I just think Ben exemplifies everything that we want in building this program and, cares deeply about the team, plays multiple positions, is a great teammate, plays with effort and finish and, tries to work and improve and, has found a role for himself here and excited to have him.
In what ways has Elijah Ponder developed and validated your fact from on the roster out of camp?
Just comfort. It's got all the talent in the world. I think just understanding this league, understanding the urgency of it and how quickly things happen and special teams and transition into third down and helping us or being a role player on first and second down and, trying for me not to take those things for granted that a young player that played at a smaller school in California could come across the country. And so I think that's just credit to him and credit to Jeremy and Smitty, for continuing to help him improve and then ultimately himself, going out there and getting comfortable. We've dropped him in some coverage sometimes. We've rushed him. He plays on special teams. So there's a lot of things that he's done for us.
Mike, I'm curious, the fake punt return, when you watch that back, can you just explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, not the fake punt return. Right? I wish we were returning it there. Something that we had practiced, something that I felt confident in. I wouldn't have called it if we didn't feel confident in it. Unfortunately, it didn't work. So it was a bad call by me. And, just told Tay to throw it, give it a chance, give Jack a chance. If the guy dropped out of there, he dropped out of there, but try to give it a chance. It certainly wasn't designed to run, and he just, felt like it wasn't there, and he made a decision. So I made a decision to try the play. I'll make other calls, and there'll be good ones, and there'll be, bad ones as well. So just felt like we needed something there, and it didn't go our way. To credit to the guys. We kept playing and found a way to win the game. So,
Mike, when you preparing like a week for the opponent's starting quarterback, and then during the game, like the backup has taken over, right? How do you quickly like recalibrate your defense?
well, most of the time it's the same scheme, and they're replacing, Lamar Jackson with Huntley. So really some of those things didn't really change, didn't have to change. They were kind of staying and doing things that they had normally done. So if it was a drastic change, there would be things that we would have to do on the fly. But, most of our attention on the fly was about getting other guys in other positions and getting Anthony Jennings there, getting, Kyle Williams and Mac to play 3 different positions. I appreciate them. I'm going to tell them that here in a few minutes at the team meeting. And that's not easy to do. I mean, when you have a receiver that plays 3 different positions and you hear the formations and you hear the personnel groups, that's a tall order. And so credit to Kyle for being a young player, credit to Mac for doing that throughout the game, when guys went down. No different than Thayer going in there, no different than Anthony, and I appreciate that. And Ben Brown goes in at the jumbo tight end when Thayer goes to tackle. And things happen so quickly that Kyle didn't even realize that Thayer was no longer the tight end. He thought he had become the tackle. So Kyle backs up off the ball, and he's like, when did this happen? And we're like, the last play. And it's like, this is not your fault, Kyle. This is my fault for somehow understanding that Ben now went in and reported, and Thayer was not reporting that he was the tackle. So that's how quickly the things happen. And, give all the credit to the players and the assistant coaches for having them ready and being able to help us win. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike.